So in yesterday's videos, we talked about solving one-step equations. Now we're going to combine this into two-step equations and solving two-step equations and also justifying with the properties once we do so. And this might lead to a little bit of confusion, those of you who aren't too familiar with this, because we're going to do the opposite of what we would normally do using order of operations. For example, in this first equation here, we would, if we start with x, we're multiplying x by 2 and adding 3. So we would multiply by 2 first, then add the 3. And we end up with 15 for the solution. And in solving this equation, we're basically working backwards from the 15. So to undo the adding the 3, we would subtract the 3 first. And this flow chart down at the bottom is sometimes used as a new method for solving these. I tend to use it just as a diagram to show the order in which we do things. So then our first step is to subtract 3 first. Okay? And since we're subtracting the same thing from both sides, the property that we use to do that is the subtraction property of equality. And once again, with these properties, it is perfectly fine to use symbols, abbreviations, as long as I understand what you are saying. So we're left with 2x is equal to 12. Okay, so we end up with 12 here, and then we're going to undo the multiplication by dividing by 2 with that flow chart. So we're going to divide by 2 here. Since we're dividing the same thing by both sides, that is the division property. Trying to write the division property of equality. And finally, that leaves us with x is equal to 6. Now again, no reason to get these wrong. You can, of course, check your answer by plugging 6 into the original equation for x and make sure that that equation is true. Well, order of operations, we do 2 times 6 first, 12 plus 3, and of course 12 plus 3 is in fact equal to 15. So then we know without a doubt that x is our solution, or I'm sorry, 6 is our solution for x. Now the next one, again, we're going to solve the subtraction first. Since we're subtracting 3 here, we're going to undo that by adding 3 to both sides. And once again, that is the addition property of equality. That's the property that's illustrated. So we're left with 8 is equal to t divided by 2. So to undo that division, we're going to multiply everything by 2. That is the multiplication. Got to change colors. That is the multiplication property of equality. And our final answer, 2 times 8 is 16. And that is equal to t. And again, a quick check. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 minus 3 is in fact equal to 5. So that is our solution. Now on the next one, for C we will look at the flow chart again. Because notice how this looks a little bit different than B. If we follow the order of operations, in this case we would actually subtract 7 first, then divide by the 3. Again, that fraction bar acts as a form of grouping symbol. So you want to simplify above and below it first, then do the division. And we've got negative 12. So Working backwards to undo the division, we multiply by 3. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3. And that is, of course, a multiplication property of equality. And over here, that cancels, so we're left with x minus 7 equals negative 12 times 3 is negative 36. And then to undo the subtraction of the 7, we would add 7. And that is, of course, the addition property of equality because we're adding the same thing to both sides. So our result, x is equal to negative 36 plus 7 is negative 29. And a quick check once again. Negative 29 minus 7 is negative 36. Negative 36 divided by 3 is negative 12. So we know that that is our solution. Doing D the same way, we multiply everything by 4. And once again, that is the multiplication property of equality. So then, performing that multiplication, 4 times 6 is 24. On the right side, the 4's cancel. So we're left with x minus 2. And to get the x by itself, we would add 2 to both sides. And that is, of course, the addition property equality. So x is equal to 26. And again, a quick check. 26 minus 2 is 24. 24 divided by 4 is in fact 6. So we know that that is our solution. And for the final two-step equations, before we get to the word problems for today, first step we would add the 4. And that is, of course, the addition property of equality. Make sure you justify the property that you are using. So we have negative x is equal to 13. Well, we're not interested in what the opposite of x is equal to. We want to know what x is equal to. So we can divide both sides by negative 1 or multiply both sides by negative 1. You are accomplishing the same goal, whichever you do. So since I divided by negative 1, I'm going to call that the division property of equality. If you end up multiplying by negative 1 to change the signs, then it would be the multiplication property of equality. So we have x is equal to negative 13. Quick check, the opposite of negative 13 is 13. Minus 4 is in fact 9, so that is our solution. And last, example F, where we add the 5 to both sides. And that is the addition property of equality. So x over 3 is equal to 9. And to undo the division, we will multiply both sides by 3. And that is, of course, multiplication property of equality. 3's cancel there, so we're left with just x. 3 times 9 is 27. Quick check. 27 divided by 3 is 9. 9 minus 5 is in fact 4. So we know we have the correct answer. The next video will deal with the word problem.